Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In this video, we're taking a look at the NYXI Hyperion Meteor Nintendo Switch controller. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, NYXI sent me this Hyperion Meteor for a fair and honest review, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Inside the box, we've got a USB-C to USB-A cable. There's also a fairly detailed instruction manual. There's a clip to attach both left and right side of the controller to make one controller, and there is no USB-C port on this, it's simply just to clip the controllers to. The USB-C ports are on the bottom of the left and right side of this controller. And here's a much better look at the Hyperion Meteor Lite controller. Both of these controllers connect directly to a Nintendo Switch just like the Joy-Cons would do. And if you're noticing here on the back, there are some back paddle buttons, and that's a really nice feature. It's worth pointing out that these buttons are completely customizable, and if you're taking a look at the trigger buttons on the top of these controllers, they are not analog, and that's because the Switch doesn't support analog triggers. They just click, so they're either on or off. And here's what the controller looks like fully assembled when the Switch is in docked mode. This controller is fairly wide, and it's actually very comfortable to hold. It's also pretty light. The D-pad on this one kind of reminds me of an Xbox One controller, except it's not clicky. It is fairly comfortable to use, and the joysticks on this are incredibly grippy on the sides. Now, getting this controller paired to the Switch was simple and straightforward. I literally just connected them to the side of the Switch and they automatically registered. And they are working pretty good. There's not a lot of input delay here that a lot of third-party controllers have, and the motion controls are also working pretty well. When testing out the D-pad in handheld mode, everything was coming out as expected. The D-pad was responsive and accurate enough, and the joystick was also accurate enough. Everything was coming out as expected, and there wasn't much of a delay at all. This was fairly precise. In docked mode, where the controller was completely wireless, it was the exact same story. The D-pad was working as anticipated and seemed fairly accurate, and the joysticks worked the exact same. I was actually pretty impressed by them. And checking out the motion controls in handheld mode, and everything was coming out as anticipated as well. Now, there is a slight bit of delay, but this is much better than a lot of third-party controllers out there. And I would say it's very close to what the actual delay is in Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. Overall, for me, for the Switch, I would say that this controller is absolutely usable. So let's get into what I liked, what I didn't like, and whether or not I'd recommend the NYXI Hyperion Meteor Lite controller. And we'll start out here with what I liked. So I like how comfortable this is, I like how securely it attaches to the Nintendo Switch, I like the joystick, I like the D-pad. I like the LEDs on this, and I love the back buttons and the fact that they are customizable. You can also change the vibration on this if you'd like as well. They state the battery life on this is about 6.5 hours, and although I didn't time this per minute, I would tend to agree it's around 5.5 to possibly 6 hours if you aren't really using the vibration. I also love the fact that you can use this controller to wake up the Nintendo Switch. And now flipping over to my dislikes, and I do have a few of those. The first thing I don't like are the vibration motors in this. They don't really seem to be that great. The one vibrates very oddly and makes a weird thumping noise. And the other one, well, it's just very weak. I would say they make the gameplay feel a little bit disconnected, and the Switch Joy-Con vibration is much better. The second thing I don't like about these is the fact that they do kind of feel cheap. They are very light, and some people might really like that. But at the same time, they do feel hollow, and in fact, if you take a look at the holes on the back of them, you can kind of see right through them. There's not a lot to these. And the last thing I don't like is more of a minor inconvenience than anything, but I can't use this centerpiece to charge both of these at the exact same time. There are two USB-C ports on the bottom. If I plug into one, well, it'll charge the one that it's plugged into. I'll need to plug in two USB-C cables at the exact same time to charge both at the exact same time. It would have been nice to have a port here and possibly been able to charge these while you're playing them on the go in wireless mode. As for the price of this controller at retail, it's sitting at about $53 overall, and I have seen it on sale. And now for the big question, whether or not I'd recommend the NYXI Hyperion Meteor Lite controller, and the answer is yes, but. Yes, it's a great controller, it's functional, but if you find it on sale. Anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Huge shout out to NYXI for providing this Hyperion Meteor Lite controller for a fair and honest review. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos, don't tempt fate, save your state.